Hi, I'm back. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Amy J and the water is fine, so come on in. If you are me, the wine is fine because I'm drinking wine. It's afternoon. It's allowed. See, it's just here. So, cheers if you are of legal age drinking alcohol. Get yourself a glass of wine, a cup of tea, whatever you fancy. As I said, my name is Amy J. This is my channel, it's our channel. It's full of witchcraft, wonderful things, crime, paranormal, soon to be crime, a lot of paranormal and a lot of witchcraft. Today's video is a little different. It's going to be a local ghost story and it's with one of my lovely friends, Beverley. I will link her down below. She's so sweet. She's got this like super calming personality. She's just such a beautiful soul. She does a lot of witchcraft too. She does a lot of thrifts, a lot of vintage things, and she's just so sweet. She also does a lot to do with chronic illness and mental health, and she's lovely. Today's video is going to be a local ghost kind of story. It's about a hall that I went through a lot as a child. I also go now for walks. It's really a lovely little place to go. Also has a very dark history, so on the outside it's a nice place to go, but when you read about it, you may change your mind. The door keeps opening and I don't know why. You hear like a little creaky noise, it's the door. Who knows anymore, we've kind of given up on that. So yeah, there will also be another video on the house soon, which is going to be an interesting one because a lot of shit's happened, I will not lie. The historic country house was actually built between 1827 and 1840 and it was owned by James Lindsay and his family, and they did eventually live there until 1947. It was originally an ancient manor house, but it did get replaced by the hall. So it did actually get bought out by Wigan Corporation, and it is also on the National Heritage List, and it is a listed building, and it is now owned by the Wigan Borough, so the people of Wigan now own the hall. Now, growing up, I never knew anything about the hall. I just thought it was just a nice place to go as a kid. Even as an adult, I didn't really know that much about it. I know it was haunted, but I didn't really know the ins and outs of how haunted it was. Reading up on it is quite surprised me, if I'm being honest. It's as if like they wanted to keep it on the down low and keep it a bit out like the public eye and stuff, because it is a wedding venue. But weirdly enough, every place that has took over the hall has ended up just like having to shut down. Like every single bit that's kind of took over has just ended up in disaster. Which I find very, very odd as well. But it does have a really dark reputation, especially for poltergeist activities, especially on the top floor. So when I was researching this, I actually learned that you could not, go to the top floor of the hall. The hall has a lot of floors and there's a lot of like grand staircases, which I will insert some clips like around. And it's a beautiful, beautiful hall, but you couldn't go to the top floor for decades. It was sealed off completely. When you could go to the top floor, a paranormal team did go to the top floor, and unfortunately someone in the team had ended up being taken to a mental hospital and got sanctioned. I do not know what happened. I tried looking up, I don't know who it was, if it was a male, female, I have no idea, I don't know who it was. And that was just really sad, like to think something that drastic happened to a person that they had to be taken to a mental hospital is genuinely petrifying. People also had nervous breakdowns and they got a lot of mysterious injuries when they were in the hall and outside the hall as well, but mainly on the top floor. Like the top floor is like the main kind of like beacon of what's been going on is in the top floor. Also, there have been hooded figures seen around the hall, in and around the hall and on the grounds too. One of the most weirdest things I read was people actually who go to experience like the haunts and just go in general actually see their own deceased family members roaming the hall, and it is like to think that is petrifying obviously, but they do have a poltergeist activity, so a lot of people do think that it's kind of like playing mind games on a lot of people by like tricking, like kind of like lure you in like a false sense of security, like how demons pretend to be like children to make you like fall for it kind of thing. They think that in here, as well as the children, which I will get to that, but they did do that, they kind of lure you in by like pretending to be like a relative of yours that's passed away. That door is really annoying me, which is quite sad, I think, because a lot of people, especially like if you're in like a really low place, and you should never do anything like this if you're in a low place, just putting that out there because it's really not good. But if you're in a low place and you do stuff like that and you see people that you love, it can be quite damaging and quite petrifying at the same time. Like that freaks me out a lot. when I read that, I felt quite emotional to think that people would see their own relatives in a place where like they didn't die. It's like they're just like kind of being tricked. That door is winding me up. If you keep hearing like a little noise, the door keeps opening and I don't know why. So if you've ever been to a paranormal investigation, or if you're like an empath or anything like that, if you're like sensitive in any way, a lot of the times you will smell different things. The main one pretty much being like rotten flesh. Rotten flesh, like cold little pockets in the air, different things like that. I've experienced that. I know a lot of you will have experienced that, and a lot of people who go and visit the hall also experience that. They'll be like walking into a certain room and all of a sudden they'll get like the smell of like genuinely like rotten flesh. And until you experience it, it sounds insane because like no one actually knows what rotten flesh smells like. I hope not. But it literally just, it's horrible. I've had it a couple of times when I've been to different places, and it is not a nice experience to have because you kind of feel like weirdly threatened by something. Like there's something there that's kind of like, it's like a warning in a way. Like when you feel cold air and stuff, it's like you feel like something's kind of like warning you to either not go in or kind of like just different things. But that genuinely is one of the things that freaks me out a lot about the paranormal and different things, how it can affect different people. Some people won't even smell it. You can go with someone, you will smell it and they'll think you're insane. But that's just how it works. It doesn't really pick and choose. It just depends on your ability and how sensitive you are to things and how open you are as well. So I read as well that a paranormal group went and used a Ouija board. Now, I am all for Ouija boards, scrying, you do you. As long as you're safe, you cast your circle, that's just the witch in me, just be safe doing it. If you do not know how to use a Ouija board, if you don't know the rules, if you don't know how to close a Ouija board or anything like that, do not use it because you have no idea what you're going to be letting into you, letting into anything. It's just not worth that risk kind of thing. These guys did use a Ouija board and they did contact kids. They contacted 2 small kids. They said they were aged 5 and 6. Now, as I said before, if you know a lot of stuff about paranormal, you will also know a lot of poltergeists and a lot of evil entities and different things like that will try and lure you in by being a small child. Because if you're trying to do like a little paranormal investigation and you contact a child, you're more likely to be quite open to it and quite friendly to it, where if it was like a grown person. It's just kind of how it works, I guess. Personally, if I contacted a child, even if it was a real child, I would genuinely be petrified that it was not, and it was a demon trying to get through, and I would just be, no. I know a lot of people do, but watch horror films. Just learn that bit. It never ends well when it's a kid, and it's usually a demon. But that genuinely freaked me out because I don't know. Reading about this whole thing has been quite mind-blowing. Alright guys, so also I added this in and it didn't film, so I'm just refilming it. Every town has a white lady, or a grey lady, or different things like that. We have a white lady. She's called Lady Mabel, and she is quite mischievous from the research I've done. So she actually is faceless, which is genuinely petrifying for me to say, because it's that, to me, seeing a ghost without a face would be more petrifying because it's like not human in a way, if that makes sense. And she doesn't have a face, and it's been said that if you actually look at her in the face, or if she sees you watching her, she'll make you go insane. And that bit genuinely freaks me out, because to think that a ghost or like an entity can have such an impact on a human is quite petrifying. Also, she roams around. She doesn't go into the hall, she stays outside the hall. So she roams the grounds, and she also roams Wigan itself. In years and years ago, I think like the 1960s, it could have been later than that, there was a grammar school in Wigan, and they said that they had what they called a ghost in the basement called the Faceless Nun, which did eventually turned out to be Mabel, the ghost of Lady Mabel. She was wearing like rags, like dirty rags and stuff, and she did kind of look a bit like a nun with like the her outfit kind of thing, and she got dubbed the nun, the Faceless Nun, which that as well freaks me out, because nuns in horror films are always the most scariest thing. Like Valak in The Conjuring 2 give me nightmares for like a full-on week. And to think that there is like an entity out there like roaming around, it actually can roam around the town, which is even petrifying. People have seen the Lady Mabel, the white lady, like out and about at night and different things, but the weirdest thing is she usually is spotted at twilight, which is quite light still. It's not pitch black, it's not dark. She's quite prominent, I guess you could say, in that way, which genuinely petrifies me. To think that there's an entity out there that has the ability to not only potentially do and cause harm to you, she's also kind of got the way of, she can wander further out than a lot of other spirits can. And that genuinely scares me. I would like to go to Hay Hall though. I know it's not open now because it did get taken over again, and they lost the thing. But maybe in a couple of weeks we can go together and I'll do a video. I'm not gonna like go and try and find some sort of entity, because that's just not wise. I guess in this case it's not very wise. But I will go and explore a lot more than I know now. I know everything about it. I'll probably take my EVP and different things with me and see what we can get. But yeah, that bit genuinely freaks me out a lot, to think that there is a roaming ghost that has no face. So yeah guys, I'm sorry my camera keeps like moving, but you're on a tripod that is broke. So that's delightful. Thank you so much for watching. The candle behind me, I just want to quickly point this out because it is sewing this weekend, which I'm super excited about. I get my candles from a company on Etsy. She also has a website called Luna and Lux. It's not sponsored, I know it sounds like it is, but it's not. And I get all my little Sabat candles from her, and this is the sewing one. So you open it, you do open it up, there we go, and it looks like this. Ooh, I dropped one. Every one of her candles, especially for like different witchcraft and Wiccan holidays, are just amazing. I love them so much. I'm burning the Mabon one behind, which I'm not gonna do it because it's kind of like on fire. But I will link her down below, because we should support little witchy businesses, especially when it's like Christmas time. These are great gifts. I would friggin' love if someone got me like some of this stuff, which people do because you know I'm obsessed. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all next week. Have an amazing sewing, and I love you all. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I'm on Instagram a lot more recently. I'm quite proud of myself. So yeah.